Well, hello everyone! My name is Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy with the Nautilus Dry Docks, and you found the best place on the internet for RC submarine awesomeness. This is my weekly update video, and we're going to be talking about all the RC submarine stuff that I accomplished this week. It's an ongoing series. Make sure you like and subscribe if this is good. There's lots and lots and lots for you to see. Quickly looking at what we've got going on. We have a Thunder Tiger Seawolf that we're upgrading intensely. We've got a Red October submarine that needs to get tested. We've got the infamous USS Texas that was lost for 2 months under the Sylvan Rodriguez Pond to get back in the water. That's a lot. We better get started. All right, I am going to continue my work on the Seawolf this morning. It's Sunday, day after Dive Tribe. We had an awesome meeting at Dive Tribe yesterday talking about current draw and telemetry. If you guys are not a member of Dive Tribe, what the heck are you doing? Are you even interested in submarines? I'm going to be playing with the Seawolf. Let's take stock of where we're at and what we're doing. So initially this was the Ocean Master version, which was a tethered boat. It came in, the cable came in from the top and it went to this like board thing and it was just controlled with a tether. I don't want that. I want wireless control, a real submarine. So pulled that out, put a new receiver in there. I'll be controlling it with my FreeSky X20 running on 900 megahertz. The other thing we did, we threw some upgrades at this thing. We've got a telemetry module for current and voltage. We've got an automatic pitch controller. Other thing we did, big modifications up front, took that tether point out and we added some linkage so that we can individually control the forward and aft dive planes. Aft dive planes are going to be running off the pitch controller to keep the boat nice and level. And the forward dive planes are going to be running off of a DC-3. Where did it go? Here it is. Automatic depth keeper, depth cruiser 3, and that'll automatically hold the boat at whatever depth you want. You just tool around, one finger on the rudder and it'll do the rest. And then of course the last thing that we need to do here is install this forward servo. I 3D printed a little bulkhead that's going to sit like this, and then it's going to connect to there and move that, which will connect to this, and move that, and then we'll have our forward dive planes. So, one more thing, which I'm kind of excited about as well. I got to thinking, you know, FreeSky has all these other telemetry modules as well, and some of them would be really important or exciting to put in this thing. So I'm going to be putting in this PS30, I believe it's called. PS30 pressure switch. The pressure sensor. It's not a pressure switch. Pressure sensor. And I'm just going to leave it on the inside of the cylinder. And there's a reason. When this bag inflates, this is your ballast tank right here. When this bag inflates, it pressurizes the entire interior of the boat. So there's a couple of things that'll be really good for this. So the pressure sensor will be able to tell ambient pressure. You know, when you bottle it up, you'll see it should be at about 14.7 psi this is, which is roughly sea level, which is where I'm at in Houston. And as this inflates, that pressure will increase. And when it reaches a predetermined point, I'm assuming the onboard pressure sensor, which is right here, this little thing, will stop it from inflating anymore. And then I'll be able to see what that pressure reads at on my screen. As I drive the boat, tootling around underneath the water, if that pressure starts to drop, do you know what's happening? Do you know what's happening? It's kind of intuitive. You should be able to figure it out. There's a leak. All that pressure is leaking out. And I'll be able to see that on my radio in real time. So it's kind of a fail-safe device. The other neat thing about this, which I'm not really going to do, but this control board basically does a lot of things. So this onboard pressure sensor could potentially be removed, gutted, and all of this taken apart here as well and removed. We could use the PS30 to control the ballast system. We could automatically set the radio to cut the ballast system out when it reaches a certain pressure, which is what this is already doing. We could get rid of all this stuff, but I'm not going to. It's fun to have it in there. It's all cool. We're just going to use the pressure sensor, the PS30, as a additional information center, so you know what's going on in your boat. Any true skipper is going to want to know what's going on in his boat. So, what the heck are we going to start with here? Let's hook that pressure sensor up. I'm going to show you just how dang easy it is. These modules are, it's a serial port. It runs into the S bus on the top of the receiver. I know some of you are like, I don't know what you're talking about, Bob. This is all just Chinese to me. What do we got in here? We got the pressure board and the little pressure transducer, I guess. Maybe it is. Or maybe this is just a manifold. I don't know what this is. And then we got our little screw-in manifold majiggers here. I thought this came with hose. I guess so. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because we don't even need it. These are manifolds so that you can run, hose out to wherever you want to be detecting your pressure from. And it also comes with a little cable. So you just hook the cable up with the negatives going to the negatives and the positives to the positives and the signals to the signals. And I'm just going to be running this loose. It's just going to hang out because it's detecting the ambient air pressure inside the cylinder. Now, what we're going to do is take this and plug it in. So the neat thing about these, and this is the pressure sensor right here, or sorry, the voltage sensor. So we have the voltage sensor and pressure sensor. Take the pressure sensor and we're just going to plug it in to the other port on the top of the current sensor. Just like that. They did it with one hand. That is talent, people. Get on there. There. And that's it. I'm done. There's literally nothing more that I need to do for the installation of that pressure sensor. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to fire up my radio. And we'll plug in some power to this crazy majigger here. Hui! Battery goes into this. And now I can fire up my boat by pressing the switch. Yeah. And I've already got this set up for the voltage and the current. So I've got real-time telemetry. I can see my batteries at 13.36 volts. And if I make things work, that's a servo, 200 milliamps. That's what it's drawing. This is really important later on. We're going to get into it later. Just chill. We're not going to worry about it right now, okay? But now what we want to do, I'm going to go into model, telemetry, detect. And now we're going to try and find our pressure. In theory, we should be reading some pressure in here somewhere. Look at all these sensor things that you can get. There, pressure. In 0.1 millipascals. Yeah, cool. Okay. But I don't want millipascals. Can I edit that? Edit. Units. Should we do barses or PSIs or pascals or kilopascals or mini pascals? Let's do PSIs. 14.9 PSIs. Now I'm gonna change this and configure the widget, and it's going to be telemetry. Doop doop doop. We want pressure. Where'd that pressure go? Pressure. Boop 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 boop. 14.9 psi, right on the front. And I can configure screens. I can make different, lots of other data points and all of that stuff. But this will be the main screen, I guess. The important stuff: my battery voltage, current draw, and the pressure. And I know some of you, I can hear you through the camera just saying, just drive your boat. What's with all these datas and computers and sensors and all of this stuff? Just drive your boat and enjoy it. That's why I'm doing this. The more you understand about the boat, the more fun you're going to have. And again, that presentation that I did yesterday for everybody talking about current draw, with a small tweak based on current, you could double your runtime. Double your runtime, but you can't do it unless you know what it's doing. So you just need to know. And in order to do that, you got to join the Dive Tribe and check out the video. All right, product placement over with. Let's get to installing a servo. Look, we have servo-age. It's mounted nice and solid to the thing. This is all removable with bolts and nuts, so the whole thing can come out if I need to replace the servo. I do just need to make sure that I reduce the throw, because this servo is goes a long way and it impacts over there. So we don't need all that travel. Too much. This will be coming off and getting replaced with another horn. I want to note too, these are the stock horns that come. And these are the same issue that we had with the Neptunes. They're fragile. Do you see that crack right there? If you torquify on the nut, it splits. And then you end up with slipping shafts. So I replaced it with these aluminum ones that I got off of the Alibaba's. Nice, beautiful anodized aluminum. All right, we have pressure sensor, we have servo. Now we need to work on our Duca 3. This thing requires that this port be exposed to exterior pressure. Now, what I could do, I could just drill a hole and put a little nipple, and that'd be fine. But there's already a hole that we can use. And if we take a look at this thing, here it is right here. This is the intake and output for the ballast system. So if we gently rotate this, we've actually already even got a coupler right here. So what I'm thinking, I'll replace that with a T. I'll tee it off, and it'll go to the depth keeper. That will be epic, because no more holes. This is the the standard. Oh, look at that. It's got a little fray in there. Might want to wick a little sealant around there. Come on, Thunder Tiger. Where's the QC here? But yeah, we'll pop that out, put a T in, and then run it to the depth keeper. So this is all open to exterior pressure all the way until it makes to the pump. This is a peristaltic pump, so it's actually pinched off the hose. It's completely sealed. So let's see if I got a T, and we'll do some splicifying here. Things are looking pretty dang awesome. So you can see I teed in over there, ran the pressure hose up to the DC3 unit, got good access to the setup button, connected the forward servo. I've got forward servo going on here, so that'll move an arm on the starboard side here. That'll swing into this thing. In theory, tidied up some of this stuff, jammed this stuff. This is getting to be about 10 pounds of rock in a 5-pound bag, but we're done. Other thing I want you to note is we got antennas. And with these 900 megahertz antennas, it's pretty, not important, but good practice to orient them perpendicular to one another. So this just worked out perfect. Existing holes, zoop, right down the middle. That'll run lengthwise. And then I got the other one tucked in underneath. You can see the little nipples sticking out here this way. So now I've got 90-degree separation. I should have really good reception regardless of the orientation of the boat. Yeah, this is looking schlick. She-lick. Now, I noticed earlier that this battery likes to move forward And you can see there's a gap in between here. So if you bump into something or you tilt the boat forward, the battery could move. I think what I might do is just put a little dollop of RTV in here just to hold it. I just don't want it to move. It doesn't need to come out unless there's a major issue, in which case you're opening this up anyway. So yeah, I don't think this is going to be a problem at all. And we're kind of getting to the point where we're done. Now, one thing I want to do is check this for voltage, because I've got a thought I may want to run LED lights on this. At the very least, 1 or 2, so that I can tell the power state of the boat. You know, being that there's no exterior indication and everything is really kind of rock solid for the most part, you have no idea if the boat's on or off except by looking through little holes to try and spot this LED inside the boat. So a strong visual indicator of the power state of the boat is always recommended. The last thing you want to do is leave it on and drain the battery for you. So I gotta figure that out. And if I can, if this is pushing the voltages out, then I think we might be okay just to tap into this and put a couple of forward shiny LEDs sticking forward, so we can see whether or not this thing is on. And just like that, we have lights. So unit is off right now. This is what I elected to do, because that dome right there extends out to like here. So we want a little length in here, and I went with 10mm super bright LEDs. So now when we turn the unit on like this, we got lights. And not just lights, but we've got bright lights. It'll look pretty cool. Orange and red, you know. I just thought it'll look neat. Visual indicator of power, right? I think I'm ready to put this thing back together again. What did I forget? What did I forget? You know what? I'm going to double check my ballast to make sure that that's going in the correct direction. And I also set up the fail-safes on the radio. So let's just double check our ballast situation, because I have a hunch I did this wrong. So, because in order to surface, it should be sucking, which it's not. I did it wrong earlier. Why didn't you tell me I was doing it wrong? So now when I go up, it should be sucking. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Once we get it all put together, we can work on the linkage for the front. Let's make this look like a boat again, shall we? Here it is. Everything is connected. The rudders are checked and everything. Let's see here. Let's power up. We'll show you guys what we got going on. Yeah, one thing at a time. Let's see here. We got rudder. That's even going in the right direction. That's always good. What's that snagging on? Oh, it's hitting on the end here. Oh. I mean, it's not bad. What else we got? We got stern planes. Pitch control. Yep, there's pitch control. Throttle. In both directions. We've got our forward dive planes. That looks good. And the pump. It's all working, dudes. Now, what we need to do here is figure out the trimmage situation for the difference between saltwater and freshwater. And I was kind of thinking, you know, I wonder, does this make a really big difference in terms of trim, or can I put it in like this? Because then I've got access to the weight tray, and I can add and remove weights as needed, where needed, how needed, because that should be centered. I think we might. And then a little bit of fine tuning with that, so it'll just be tiny littlest bit, you know, heavier because I don't think the specific density of plastic is greatly different than that of water. So I think we may be ready for the top secret test facility. You know what? I just realized we haven't tested our watertight integrity. And I've never put this lid on yet. Dave Ruiz, whom I told you guys did this first, beat me to the punch, recommended lubricant. So I put a little silicone grease on the inside here. Doesn't look like there's an up or down, so I'm just gonna put this on and hope like heck it works. How does this do? How does this do? Hey-ya! Hey-ya-ya! Maybe you put the black thing on and then clamp it? I don't know. Hey, hey. Boy, those lights are touching the front. I think they're touching. They're really close. That was miscalculation on my part. I thought it was going to be back like an inch. Okay, radio. And the reason we'll know whether or not this is working, we can cycle the ballast. Oh yeah, got some red eyeballs going on. So in theory, when we cycle the ballast, we should see the pressure reading increasing. Right now it's showing 14.9 psi. Now this is making me hopeful because it was 14.8 or something before, and we put the lid on, so it compressed the air just a little bit. Let's see what happens. So if we want to go down, we need to take ballast in. 15 psi. Peristaltic pumps don't care what they're pumping. They'll do everything equally happy. Yeah, we're climbing. Oh, so cool. Hopefully it stops. How's it know when to stop? We're getting closer. 16.3 psi. That's it. Auto stopped it at 16.5.4. So what I'll do, I'm just gonna hang out here for a little while. Go have a 16.3. Is it dropping? Don't tell me we have a leak. It could just be it's dropping. Okay, well, this is why we have the pressure sensor. Right? Alright, well, it's a good thing I kept the side off of it. Dang it! Ugh. Alright, it's fine, it's fine. It's why we do tests. Alright, here we are at the top secret test facility, and we got Seawolf ready for testing. A little leak, we gotta try and figure out where that's at. I'm thinking maybe it's that forward seal, we'll see. Unexpected, it went straight down. I don't think I added that much stuff to it, but it's fine. It's sitting on the ledge. We'll cycle the ballast and try and find out where it's leaking from. Okay, ballast's tank is filling. You can actually see the water in it. That's pretty cool. 15.6 psi. Yeah, in the front there. Okay, all right, okay, all right. It's the big main seal in the front. So this was unexpected. I'm pumping out the ballast here. You can see that's where it comes out. It was leaking right here. I did not do anything with this in the slightest at all. Well, that didn't go as expected. That forward window was not secured from the factory. Now, it's possible that those two red LEDs were pushing up against it. I'm going to seal it permanently, at any rate. and we don't need to worry about it. But we're at October in the water and see how our modifications to the ballast went. She seems to be sitting really high, but this is more like where we wanted it to be. That's good. Let's flood the tank and see what happens. So it's level now. Come on, baby. We got a lot of foam in there. Oh, no. No. Interesting. Not entirely unexpected. I think just a little chunk of foam in the very front here. Yeah. All right, let's go grab some foam. This is what I like to see here. Let's say maybe even just a tiny bit back on these weights. But that's the correct amount of positive buoyancy. Let's see what happens when I bring it up. Wait, before I do, let's make sure that tank was fully empty. You know, see it drained a little bit. Okay, so let's get rid of one of these weights. Put it in the back here like that. There. Looks right to me. I think we got it. Behold the Texas in all of her weathered glory. All right. Back into the water. First time after her trial by fire at the bottom of the pond. Let's see what happens. Okay, she is settling. I hope. Seems a little high in the stern to me. Let's, more importantly, let's see what happens when we flood the tank. Down, down, down. Hopefully we just need to add some weight. You know, I wonder if a weight got jostled or loosened when the divers grabbed it. Let's go grab some weight. Well, boys and girls, I think this is where she wants to be. Had to add, how much is that? 1, 2, 3, 4.5 ounces in the stern there. Now the question is, what does she look like when we bring her back up to the surface? And actually, what happens when I pull this off? Yeah, it's not bad. Actually, pretty good. If I remember correctly, what we did last time is we added weight to the ASDS and foam. And that corrected this, because if we add more weight in the back, she'll sit heavy in the water. There's no more room under the hull for any foam. But the ASDS is going to correct that. So, if we do something like this, oh, getting closer. A little more. A little more back. Right at, and then a little below in the front. Yeah, I like that. So now all we need to do is ballast the ASDS neutrally with some foam inside to offset that weight, and we'll be in good shape. Let's go grab some foam, shall we? I think we're about as close as gonna get. So I like the amount of positive buoyancy in here. Those forward dive planes are really, really gonna have a lot of authority over this boat. And particularly as this is a new skipper, having that fudge factor is a really good thing. Now if I take off the ASDS, we've still got good trim. I like this a lot. The whole thing sits a little bit higher, about 1/8 of an inch, 3/16 of an inch. Actually, it's just about freaking perfect. Look at that. Really good. And we got all our foam and weights in there, and we just lock it down. Doesn't really change anything underneath because the ASDS is neutrally buoyant. But now when we surface, coming up nice and level. I will say it still sits slightly nose down, which actually, because the scum line is on an angle, means that the deck is level in surface trim. Yeah, yep. So if you were to sight this from the side, that deck would actually be parallel to the surface of the water. I like it. I think this is going to work perfectly. She is ready for the lake. Just lock down those little few weights in the stern, which is going to be really easy to do. And yeah, we're off to the races, boys and girls. It's been a good trimming day. It's been such a good trimming day that the boat, it seems to be fixing itself. You remember we had our red LED before, but the green was dim. Now look at it. It's just shining away like crazy. Self-fixing boats. I love it. Monday morning, work week. Well, my normal work week. You saw I worked all weekend for you guys, right? We got goodness happening already. Foam installed in the bow of the Red October, which shouldn't interfere here. I don't think. We'll see. We'll see if there's any grindy when we put this together. This is basically ready for LED light installation, and we can start painting. The other thing that was weird yesterday, do you guys remember this switch stopped turning off? It just did the same thing on me yesterday. I wonder if what's happening is when I put that switch inside, if there's something pressing against that reset switch. I'm gonna crack this open and see. Maybe chop that button down because the button is like 3 inches long. We'll do that. We'll do that in a minute. Seawolfage. I RTVified the nose plate here, so that'll never come off. And now I understand why they did it, because this is a molded piece of plastic, and this is a little glass window. The idea being, of course, that you would put a camera in there, and I am not. But regardless, it's perfectly optically clear, so your camera would work. I ground down the tips of these LEDs, so these are now going to give a little bit of clearance, I think, to the front. It was just a little too perfect in terms of tolerance. And the other thing, I need to remove some weight. You guys saw when I dropped this in the water, she went straight down, like straight down. And that's a little weird to me. I mean, I understand it should have been floating high because this was trimmed for salt water, or vice versa. Anyhow, I got to take weight out, and this is how it works. This is the retaining collar on the front of the shaft here, and these weights just slip off. So I think what I can do, if I loosen this, I can slip that shaft back. I'm going to pull this weight here off, and we'll see if that's enough, and then we can put this back in the test faculty and see if it floats, and if we took care of the seal. Actually, we could put that on right now and test it and see if the pressure holds, thanks to our pressure switch. And last but not least, I've dumped some weight in the back here. So this is all done. We can start cleaning up the cosmetics, address these little tiny holes in the paint finish, and get this thing all dressed up and ready for debut next weekend. Fitz's float for Sylvan Rodriguez Park. I am not afraid to say it's a little scary bringing her back there, but with proper operational considerations and perhaps some additional fail-safe implementation, I think we'll be A-okay. Okie dokie. I've removed this gargantuan sucker from the forward part of the keel there. Now, I don't remember when it went down, if it went front, back, left, right. I don't know. These are easy to move back and forth. So that should not be a big issue once we get it in the water. But what I really want to test here right now is the integrity of the seals, and particularly the one that I did. So got my radio on, power this thing up. Okay, let's cycle some ballast, shall we? This twitching, by the way, is completely normal. That's the automatic pitch controller just responding to the vibrations in the pump. Pressure's going up. We're at 15.8. There we go. 16.9. Hold. 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 It's holding. She's holding. Let's just give it a minute. We want to make sure it'll hold for, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, just to make sure. But it's looking promising. And with that being the case, maybe at lunchtime today we can redunkify this, test the trim out a little bit, and once that's done, if the trim gets dialed in, we can throw this in the big test facility. I don't know when I'm going to do that. It'll have to be in the afternoon after work if I can figure that out. But tool it around, see how it works, and then maybe if it's fun, floatify it on the weekend out at Sylvan. Yeah, looking good so far, boys and girls. So I think I figured out what's going on here. This is the switch, and this is the set button right here. And when I was tucking it in, I think it's getting pushed, and then this is getting depressed and being held in place or something like that. So that's the problem. We're just going to buck this off with our snipper dippers, reset it, retune it, redo it, and I'd be willing to bet we'd be right back in fighting trim again. Let's give her a shot, boys and girls. Yeah, that's exactly what was going on. It was just getting pushed and all of that stuff. So now it works. Boo-doo boop. Boo-doo boop. Nice. Nice. Okay, that's done. Now, I want you to note what I did here in such a beautiful, clean manner. But the problem is we need some lights. And now I have no way to get into the sail. So now I got to pull all that foam out to install LED lights. And that kind of sucks. It's always one step forward and 2 steps back and 2 steps and half back. And that's the way it goes. So let's pull that out. We'll grab some LEDs and get prepped for lighting installation on the Red October. So before I install the lighting on the Red October, I wanted to do paint so that I don't need to mask the LED lights after I get them in. And let's see the base coat I went with. So still wet, still glossy, but this is chalked charcoal. And if you take a look at the movie Red October, when she surfaced, which is the only time you really get a chance to understand what color it is pretty gray. It's not very black. It's pretty gray. I wanted to replicate that a little bit. I don't think the owner, the guy that commissioned this, wants to do any weathering or anything, which kind of makes sense because Red October was literally freshly commissioned for the movie. So she'll just be, gray charcoal. Which should look pretty cool. We're gonna let that percolate, dry off here a little bit, and we're gonna get back onto Texas. We're gonna try and touch up some of these little goobers here. But before I do that, I'm just gonna do one more roly-poly with my silicone roller here to make sure we did as good a job as possible to get all these little bumps down. And then we're going to get on to paint. And I got a bunch of different colors here that we're going to try and use to replicate the colors as much as we can. And yeah, that's where we're at. We're just cleaning her up, making her look beautiful. So what I got in here is this etching primer, and that was the color that I used to denote the water line. And the good news is, because it's the precise exact color, at least at the water line, you can't even tell. Look at this. This is turning out so good. Now where it gets a little iffy is when you get down here. You know, now we're talking weird color blending and all sorts of weirdness. So what we're gonna do is just get the worst of it, and then we'll move on to the lower part. But this is gonna turn out really good. This is gonna turn out good. I have zero doubtages whatsoever. Rethinking this a little bit. So you can see I got this masked. The reason is, if you take a close look at this, touching up all the little dots left little dots. And this is the problem that you run into. I would have left it. Customer wanted all of the little dots touched up. But especially when you're trying to match weathering, it's impossible. It is well, not impossible. It's virtually impossible to get it matched up to make it look good. So now what we're stuck doing is misting over the water line there, which means we're going to lose this really cool patina that came from it being on the bottom of the water. But the upper deck should be fine. I'm not going to do anything with the upper deck. So let's just mystify the bottom really lightly in an effort to blend, and then we'll see where we're left off. This is where we've ended up with. After a clear of matte to lock everything in, it really downplayed the weathering, which is probably exactly what we wanted. This side, I love this bottom part here with the lake version. The other side is where I misted with that primer in an attempt to blend it, and I don't like it as well. I'm gonna leave it because I don't want to mess this up, and you can't see both sides at the same time, so it's really not a problem. But you can see it's just more matte, you know, on that side. Maybe I need to mist it or something. With the more you strew around with weathering, the worse it gets sometimes. We just think we're good. We're good. We're gonna leave it and see how she looks outside. In the water is where it matters, right? So let this cool off. Let her harden up, and get geared up to head to the lake on the weekend. Probably Wednesday, lighting on Typhoon, and later today, Seawolf back in. I ordered some stickers because that TTR SB Seawolf thing, it doesn't do the boat justice. I ordered some different stickers. They should be here in a while, a week or two. But I think it'll look a lot better. And lunchtime out at the top secret test facility, and time to drop Seawolf in the mini test facility. Let's see what happens. I'm just gonna grab it and we're just gonna dunk it. Okay. All right. Okay. I got a hunch we might need to take a little more out, because that ballast bag is much larger than the Neptune, and obviously we need to shift the weight back forward. But what we're going to do, fire it up and see if it's neutrally buoyant when
the tank is full. So let's just see what that looks like, shall we?
Well, that was short-lived. Had an issue with this crazy thing. When I turn it on, I get an error, that flashing light on the ballast system. And weirdly, I have no forward servo control. Oh, it's like completely, it's not powered. I can move it by hand. That's odd. Okay, and I have no control over the ballast system because it's got flashing red light. But I've got full control over rudder, dive planes, and throttle. I gotta look up what that flashing light means. The front servo thing is very weird to me. Very weird. Okay, well, mystery. I would prefer not to have to solve, but solve it we will. Well, good morning. It's early morning. I've been awake since like 2:30, thinking about this crazy Seawolf. It has been bothering me, and so I'm just going to get up and try and figure things out. So we just fired it up here right now, and the front servo is working again. I don't like it when things stop working and then start working spontaneously. The ballast system, however, is still doing the same thing. Let's take a look. Fire up the radio. Fire up the boat. Where's my switch? Where's my switch? Front servo working perfect. Ballast system's completely locked out with a flashing red light. And I've got no telemetry. What the heck is going on? I just had telemetry 2 seconds ago. Why do I not have telemetry? And my radio's not really talking to me. Everybody is just unhappy this morning. One thing that's interesting, yesterday, when I power up, the only current draw should be these LED lights. And they were pulling 200 milliamps. But now we're reading almost half an amp of current draw. So, that's not good. Weird. Let's start. There's no helping it. We got to pull this thing apart. Fortunately, I've done this a couple of times, so it should go fairly quickly. Well, I think we figured out why the weight situation was screwed up. There's about 18 gallons of water on the inside there. I'm wondering if that has something to do with the ballast system not functioning and when the water got in there. That was a lot of water. I was holding pressure. I don't understand anything. So I got everything apart. I'm just draining the ballast tank here. And I just hooked up the speed controller to the servo tester to the pump and just pumping out the... My ballast tank is empty again. Woohoo! And also when I was disconnecting the battery, it broke off my fancy 90-degree bendy thing, so I get to resolder that again. This is not a happy morning here so far, people. I'm still... Oh. Is that flashing differently? I don't know. Stupid thing. Stupid thing. I'm a guy. And in typical fashion, I didn't read the instructions before I started pulling stuff apart and yelling and stomping my feet. The flashing red light was the smoking gun. So this board here does a couple things. It controls the speed controller, obviously. It has the pressure sensor, but it also has one more thing. Right down here. You see these two little bolts connected with wires? That's a leak sensor. So if there's a leak, it locks out the ballast system, apparently. That was what was going on, boys and girls. The system was doing exactly what it was supposed to be doing, because there was water in there. Now, I still don't know where the water was coming from, how it got in there, but at least we know that works. I don't feel too bad because of this connector. It was loose, so the first time I went to go pull the power out from the front, it would have busted off, like it did. And I would probably have been at the pond or something like that, and it would have happened and I would have been marooned. So that needed to get fixed anyway. In order to fix it, I needed to open it up. It's fine. It's all good. I'm still concerned. I don't know where that water came from because our pressure was always positive in this thing. I never put it in negatively. I never cycled the ballast when it was underneath the water so it would have pulled vacuum and sucked everything in. Now I'm worried that there's water spraying in from the pump or somewhere, but overnight this stayed pressured up. So, I don't know. Let's just put it back together again and pretend none of this happened and everything will be fine. All right, it's Wednesday morning. And we're going to get to installing the lights on the Red October here in a little bit. But first, we're diagnosticating the Seawolf in an attempt to figure out where the heck that water came from. But we're going to test it, and this is how. Basically just disconnected the stock hose from the back of the unit. So this would be coming out right here normally. And by the way, I pulled this out. You remember back when we were looking at this, the O-ring seal was all messed up. So I pulled that out, put a new one on, and I RTVified that. So now, of course, with the Stormtrooper cup full of water, we're going to cycle the ballast and see if there's any leaks. Yep. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? There we go. Okay. Let's, you know what? Let's get a clamp. Clamp. A pink clamp. Down. I've got this pressured up. It's got a fair degree of pressure inside there, and there is no drippages whatsoever. It's completely sealed up with no evidence. Oh, look. What's that? We got a little drop. There's a little drop right there. But I mean a drop. Come on now. Oh, look, 2 drops. Do you see that? I mean, that's certainly not a smoking gun, because there's a lot of water, like you guys saw. Like, significant. Not 2 drips. Maybe what I'll do, I'll pull these apart and clean them up and then put some RTV around, push them back on, and reclamp them. Yeah, this clamp should be back here. This is too far forward. That doesn't explain this one. I don't know. You know what? I'll pull it apart. It'll be fine. And I think we'll just put this thing back together again and hope it works. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think I may have found where that leak was coming from. So it's not necessarily happening when I go in the other direction, but I want you to watch. This is the DC3 depth keeper. See a little dripple? Watch this. Look at that. The DC3 is leaking. I would never, and it looks like it's coming from like inside, underneath the cover. I guess pull it apart, see if we can figure out what's going on there. So I don't think this is the unit itself. It's all sealed and everything. When I pulled off the heat shrink, and took a look inside. It was leaking right from the tip, so the hose nipple interface is not ideal. What I'm going to do, I'm going to replace that hose with this hose. This one has a bigger ID. Do you see that? So this blue hose is going to be a much more positive seal on this. I think that's what it was. Now, is it possible that that's where all the water was coming from? I don't think so. I really don't. It's possible. All right. Let me swap this out. We'll button it up. Put it all back together again. So I'm starting to put this thing back together again, and unfortunately, I think the DC3 may be shot. It may have gotten wet. You can see this is the forward servo. It's cocked, which it shouldn't be. It was going crazy here a second ago. It's such a pain to get into this thing. I'm wondering if I should swap it out just to be safe. See, now it's working. I don't trust it though. Alright, well, we'll pull it out. We got it. I don't want to do this again, people. I just don't. Alright, I've just installed the new DC3. I think that was the problem. You guys remember I was saying after it got wet, it was pulling 0.4 amps, 400 milliamps when quiescent, when nothing was happening. And it's no longer doing that. So we're at zero again. Now, reading through the instructions, this is kind of interesting. So that's the unit right there, and I had to cut away the paper to see the little light. So you'll have to do that if you guys get one of these. But after you go through the programming, which is super easy, you set neutral, full rise, and full submerge. And once you do that, basically the unit's control. And I was like, I'll hook up this test hose and I'll blow in it to see if it controls the servo, and it didn't. And then I started reading the instructions. You got to turn it on. So to turn it on, you just flick up on your stick, and to turn it off, you flick down on your stick. So watch what happens when I do that. And now the unit is on. And I flick down, and it turns off. So you can elect to have this thing operation or not. That's pretty cool. And I tested it by blowing into this hose when it was activated, and sure enough, it was doing servo things. In theory, the proper servo things. So very happy I went back in and did this. Now the other thing that I noticed in the instructions that I did not do, I need to replace my hose with something a little longer, and I need to make a loop that goes up and down, and that traps an air bubble in there. That, I think, my friends, was the secret sauce that caused the water to go through. Now, I don't see there being an issue with that water hitting the pressure sensor inside, but I could be wrong. I'm going to get a longer chunk of hose, do a loop, reinstall, push, pull, reassemble, and then we'll be back where I was a couple of days ago, which seems to be the story of my life here in the shop lately. And here's my installation. I got a loop in there. So you probably could have gone like this or all sorts of things, but this worked out good. And you can see the light for programming when you need to get back into it for whatever reason. You can adjust the sensitivity on this as well. The challenge is that going to be super hard to do when everything's buttoned up. So if you wanted to change the sensitivity, you'd have to take the whole thing apart. Or drill a bigger hole here or something. But time to put it back together. Well, I had grand plans to get the lighting installed on the Red October, and that never happened because of this crazy thing, which is basically back together. I pumped up the ballast, tested it, let it sit for 5 minutes, did not lose even 1 PSI as is. So that's good. I'm sure that depth keeper was the thing that was kind of screwing up the current draw. So now that's all done. It pulls 200 milliamps, which are just the LEDs in the front when it's on. I also, by the way, upgraded these horns because when I went to go torquify one of these, it split. That's really bad design, guys. Thunder Tiger. So these are much better now, all metal and aluminum. Checked the throws, adjusted the trims, so we're in good shape for re-trimming. I had installed another weight in the front, so we're going to throw this in the water, see where it floats. Maybe do that at lunchtime, you know? And that'll do it for today. Thursday, out at the top secret test facility, early in the morning. Because I wanted to test out Seawolf. We just got to get this trim dialed in so I can feel better about myself. And this is where she is sitting right now in full surface trim, which is actually pretty high up out of the water. Now granted, I'm missing a dive plane and the other part of the shell, but I don't think that's going to significantly affect it. Let's see what happens when we do a little dive. We're at 15 psi right now. Floating. How it's floating. Feel like a little more weight in the front is what we're after. I've got some little discs. Let's see, let's pull this out and I'll go grab them. It bit me. It bit me. Alright, so I shuffled some weights around in the keel, and I just clipped to the side on and just slipped the dive plane on just to get the weight. And now, in full surface trim, this is what we are looking at, which kind of hard to see, but the water line is right at the bottom of the deck, and it's completely even. So 15.1 psi, we're going to dive now. And I'm looking for just like neutral buoyancy. A little more. So 15.9 psi, we'll put it at, I mean, for all intents and purposes, neutral buoyancy. It's barely. There we go. Certainly to the point where it would be really easy to dive and drive around. But the ballast bag is probably only like a sixth full. Cycling it only took, well, I mean, you literally just saw it, 10 seconds? I think that's good. I think we've got this. I'm gonna pull it out. We'll take a look at the bag. But the beauty of that pressure sensor is now I can just run the boat at full speed around, hit the ballast, get her to 15.9, stop it, and we can drive around. I can even set an alarm where it'll go off at the 15.9 psi, so I don't even need to watch the controls. I can just enjoy it and drive it, and this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. The morning was starting out so good. Got the Thunder Tiger all put back together again, doing a final test, and the bow planes are not working at all. They're not moving. The servo's not getting power. It's completely free spinning. And it was doing that before with the other DC3 unit, and I thought, well, maybe that DC3 unit was acting up. It was pulling voltage. It wasn't passing things through. Put the new one in. Everything was working fine. And now we're at the point where I need to take the entire thing apart again. So it's just going to live over there. And I'm not even going to look at it. And we're going to move on to the Red October and see if I can screw this watertight box up this morning, because that's what I need right now. So with this thing, I was using long threaded bolts. You can see this thread goes all the way down to the bottom. The plastic is threaded. But I got to thinking, there's no way that the owner's not going to strip those out. I mean, it's a watertight box. You do need to torquify on them a little bit to get that pressure down. So we're going to be using some threaded metal inserts. In order to do that, I got to drill these out. And you can see I got thin walls. Thin walls. That's awesome. So I'm going to drill them out, and we're going to heat these up press them, and it's all going to go perfectly, and I'm not going to screw this up to the point I need to rebuild the entire box. Inserts are in there, and that was not. It would have been better if I would have designed it initially with the allowances for the inserts, but it's fine. It's good. And I seated it, and it sits nice and flush, so that's not a problem. The problem is when I insert, got grease all over this thing. The issue is when I inserted these, there's like super ultra minor distortion of the seal interface, and that's kind of crappy because it's a precision fit. I had this O-ring in the lid, and it really only compresses like a 32nd of an inch. I am going to make this a little bit more bulletproof, a little bit more idiot-proof, which is really, really good because I'm the one working on this. I am going to make my own seal in here out of RTV, and basically I'm going to fill that seal channel with silicone. I should have done this to begin with. I don't know what I was thinking. And then that way there'll probably be something more along the lines of like a 1/16 interference in there. Lots of room. So I'm going to go ahead, whip out the silicone, smear that in, and then I'm out of time. This was not a good morning, people. I was really thought I was done with Seawolf so I could get it off the bench. Just didn't work out that way. So I just finished setting up the Red October radio and getting all the sounds rigged up. And I just did a fast attack video. If you guys want to set the same sort of thing up on your remote, if you got, a fantasy submarine you want to add the soundtrack to, or, your own sound effects, this is how you do it. So check out my fast attack video, and you will know how to do it yourself. I got my screen all set up with old Ramius. Things like when you go hard over to the right,
steer right, 315.
right from the movie. How about the Caterpillar drive?
The order is engage the silent drive.
Full throttle.
Increase the flank.
And then I got like a whole bunch more, including just like the soundtrack. Or how about this one? I like this one.
Mother of God. Mother of God.
And lots of other ones.
Flood tubes 3 and 4 and plot a solution. Aye, Captain. Flood tubes 3 and 4 plot solution.
Pretty stoked. And good morning. It is Saturday. And as you guys know, the plan was to head to Fitz's Flotilla of Fun at Sylvan Rodriguez in downtown Houston. Now, the weather is going to be absolutely beautiful this morning, and that is a big check mark. Cha-ching! The bad news is I got a report from Fitz, the guy that organizes the event, about the water quality, and let's just say not epic. There's floating globules of weeds, the water clarity is terrible, and the launching point is only about yay deep on that little outcropping by the shore there. It's an hour to drive there, and it's an hour to drive back. And I just don't know if I'm feeling it, if that water clarity and water quality is going to be that way. So, what I was thinking, I really do need to test the Texas out again. Not only for myself, but obviously for the customer. But I got two good sites here, Taylor Pond and Creekside. So, those are each 10 minutes away as opposed to an hour. I think maybe we'll just throw the boat in the truck and drive out there to test it. Maybe I can even talk Renee and Gracie into joining me. Get a little walk-in this morning. I think that may be the plan. So a couple of things I want to do this morning. I want to do a little bit of additional weathering on Virginia. And do final bench tests to make sure that everything is working really well. And the other thing I want to show you, I got this for testing purposes. Now, not that I'm gun shy at all. For testing purposes, got some fly fishing lines. So this stuff floats. And I also picked up these little styrofoam bobbers, and they kind of go in line, and they're streamlined. They're hydrodynamically efficient, so they shouldn't put a lot of drag on the boat. And the reason this will probably do, say, like a 12-foot string out the back with a float on it, and then that way, if the boat goes down, at least we'll know where it is. So this is Texas in her pre-mission state, post sealing with the matte clear, and it did away with almost all of the cool weathering on the top, which whatever. It's fine. I love the bottom part though. Like that is freaking awesome. But I wanted to add a little weather. We need some salt streaking, because I don't like just the straight black. And this is, you guys have seen this before. This is just pastels. And so what I typically do is just streak downwards from the center and rub down. And the whole idea behind this is you are adding in the direction of the streaking, salt streaking. And yeah, it looks like a lot now, but what you can do after that is you rub it down, and that really starts making it more subtle. So I'm just going to go down the whole boat now and do my thing with the stuff. And hopefully it'll start looking a little more, the upper deck will start looking a little more in line with the lower deck. And here's the final look. A little better, a little more character, and a lot more fitting top and bottom. Now, I elected not to do the ASDS because typically these would, kind of sit somewhere, right? And they would only be deployed when they're needed. So they wouldn't get a lot of beatings at ocean. So he's just been spritzed with gray and black. But yeah, Texas looking good. Let's jump over to Red October and see if my waterproof cover is going to work. So this is the new gasket that I have on the inside there. Let's put it on and torquify it. Oh yeah, that's going to be a little better, I think. We'll put our bands on and our bolts in, torque it down, and then test it. It's not working. Gonna have to get a little more aggressive with the gasket making. It's fine. It's fine. I had a thought about the Seawolf. What I'm wondering, because the DC-3 is in line between the receiver and the servo, what I'm wondering is if maybe when things were getting connected or whatever, the setup button got jammed against the bulkhead. And it's either still jammed against the bulkhead, or when it went into the programming mode, it lost all the programming. So I got to get with Kevin, with KMC, the gentleman that designed the DC-3 unit, because this second board is doing the same thing the first one did. So what I noticed immediately when I disconnect the DC-3, my current draw goes from 300 milliamps to 0. If I move other stuff, it jumps up 300 milliamps. But the quiescent current draw is not big enough to register on the current sensor. I could also not enter programming mode. The way you do that is you depress the button, you power it on, and this should go into a programming cycle blink pattern. But we are not getting programming sequence blink pattern. I have this plugged in right now and my forward servo is working perfectly. So, that's super cool. I think what we're going to do, boys and girls, for now, is just leave this alone. I'm going to, well, no, you know what? In case Kevin needs it, I'm going to take it out and cap it. So, It means I'm not going to have my depth control. I was really kind of looking forward to it as well. This is really weird. You know, usually Kevin's electronics are pretty solid, but maybe it's a bad batch of DC3s. I don't know. It'll be functional, fully functional. I'm going to slap it back together again, and maybe we can bring it out to the top secret test facility today.
Is there a duck? Is there a duck?
So we're at Creekwood Park, and unbeknownst to me, it's swimming lesson time for everybody here, so there was no parking. I'm parked illegally out over on the road there. We're not going to be here for long, just long enough to test the Texas, and I'm unraveling the fly fishing line, and we're going to be tethering Texas so that we do not have any chance of permanent loss of the boat.
Very curious about the boat.
Yeah, wait till they get in the water, they'll chase it, like in formation.
That's okay. Gracie will keep him away.
Hey, big smooshy tail, keep away from my very, very expensive boat.
Yeah. It's a submarine.
That's way faster. Since we put the brushless motors in there, holy, it's like twice as fast. Easily twice as fast. We're pulling 1 amp at this speed. Holy. So I'll do another lap, and for safety's sake, when I do the dive, we'll be close to shore.
The ducks.
Holy, look at it go. 1.7 amps current draw at this speed. That is incredible. So I'll pull it in, stop it here, we'll dump the tanks, get it under the water, and then see how she performs. Okay, I'm gonna try and pace it on the shore. See if we can get her under.
So she went down, much in the same way as she did at Sylvan Rodriguez, but of course this time we were prepared. So I'm interested to crack into this and see what is going on. If there's any water in the cylinder. Yes, there is. Which is weird because I literally just tested it at home and it was perfectly fine. Yeah, there's a significant amount in there. I had pressure tested it. You guys saw it on the video. I pressure tested it. It was fine. All right, we're done. Back home, troubleshoot. See what's going on.
All right, we are back at the dry docks, and hey, we have a boat this time. Texas came home with us. That was pretty cool. Mixed bag of results. First off, obviously there was a leak in the cylinder. Don't know where it came from or why, but we are going to get that addressed one way or the other. The good news was the brushless motor upgrade was amazing. Absolutely amazing. You guys saw that thing hoofing around at a very fast rate, and I think it was only pulling 1.7 amps. 1.7 amps! That is incredible. Now, as a comparison, my 50th Scout Alpha, which is roughly the same length, if a little fatter, at that kind of speed would be pulling 4. So Virginia is a streamlined baby. All right, now it's time to give the weekly wrap up. So where does that leave us? We've got Seawolf, completely done, tested, and ready to go. I think I'm going to drop it in the water either today or tomorrow just to see how it goes, and obviously I will film it. And we'll put it in the next video for you guys. Virginia needs some attention with the cylinder. I'm sure I can get that figured out. I've diagnosed enough leaky cylinders. I think we've got this under control. I need to figure out why I can't seal the waterproof compartment of Red October. But that's the end of this week. And bad news, boys and girls. I am traveling for work for the next 2 weeks. I leave on early on Monday. Won't be back until Saturday. Back for 2 days. Gone for 4 days. So shop time is going to be somewhat impacted. Let's just put it at that. Not sure about dropping videos, what the rate or size or anything is going to look like. All I know, I'm going to do my darndest to make sure you guys get your fill of RC submarine awesomeness. That's it for this week. It feels like I got a lot done. This was a longer video. I know it was. Like and subscribe, drop your comments, do all the things that help me out here so I can keep churning more content out. With that, I'm going to let you go. You have a great rest of your day, and as always, we will catch you next time.